killing all the rats. I'm robbing all the robbers. I'm real trap star from Vulture Island. Alright, don't move wrong in this bitch, I've been assassin. Alright, the way you swing is strange, you think he rocks.
Rob49 is a New Orleans-based rapper that has been making waves in today's rap scene. He has been featured on two of the bigger and best albums this year in Mansion Music by Trippie Redd and Almost Healed by Lil Durk. This, however, is excluding what is becoming his big break, which would be his feature on Travis Scott's Utopia. However, this is far from the first buzz Rob49 has garnered. Rob garnered the most attention from his hit song, Vulture Island, that got a Lil Baby remix that really took it to the next level. In this video, we will be exploring and going through Rob49's discography to decide whether the hype around Rob49 is legitimate. How this will work is as follows. I have picked out 3 albums by Rob49 that I will review and assign a score to based on my interpretation of its quality. These scores will be averaged at the end, and I will assign him a score. The score is simple. The higher the better. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let them pussy niggas trick me, why I keep my blicky? I know some killers don't say shit, but they collect their ticket. Before you bossed up and start winning, all them hoes was distant. Fuck all them cars and different bitches, I'ma stack my bitches.
This is not Rob49's first album, but this will be the first one I'll be talking about. This album isn't bad by any means, and it is very listenable and digestible. The problem with this album, though, is that I just feel like it's very generic and lacks personality. This is very apparent in most of the tracks, but I would say the generic tracks are a lot better than the super boring and even bad tracks on here. Next Level is a great example of this. This track has one of the worst beats I've heard in a while. Like, I genuinely hate this beat, and Rob's flow is too choppy and discombobulated and just doesn't fit the track at all. Another horrible song is Can't Show Respect, which has horrible mixing. Both Rob and the future Lango, if I'm pronouncing that right, sounds 5 times more quiet on here than in the rest of the album. The whole song just sounds awkward and weird in a bad way. Lango's verse is also trash, and for being the only feature on the project, I think it would have been better off featureless. These 2 tracks stand out to me, though, as the lowest of the lows for this album. Positively speaking, though, this album gets off to a great start. The track Born Day is actually a really solid opener and is one of the most standout tracks on here. The pianos on the track are beautiful and the beat drop is low-key but still sounds great. Rob picks up the pace with the next track, Chosen One, and this one turns out great as well. The choir loop in the background is catchy, and Rob has one of his most energetic performances on the record here. I also like the beat on Rolls Royce Truck. The Rob49 performance is solid, but the beat really makes it for me on this one. The best beat on here, though, is easily the closing track, I Don't Want It. The sample on this track is great, and Rob's slower delivery works wonders with it. Other tracks like D-Day, Hold Up, and Mind are examples of the rest of the songs on here I am just indifferent towards, which sucks because there are some really good moments on this thing, but it's just drowned out with mediocrity. It also, like I said, has a lack of personality, which doesn't help either. Overall, this album is alright, just super generic with some good moments, so I'd give it a 4.5 out of 10.
You gotta pay the cost to be the boss, I'm still gon' pay it though. I still eat up pussy every day like it's my favorite food. Man ain't enough, I wanna be, I'm trying to see it through. All this for the look, I'm on they neck.
Welcome to Vulture Island is completely different than For God. From the very first track, Undefeated, it's very apparent that Rob49 had made some great strides in improvement. His energy had most notably spiked, and he and his voice seem more unique and varied. His flows are more explosive, and he has more confidence on the beats as well. Like I said, the track Undefeated is a perfect example of all these tropes coming into fruition. The track Alright is one of the most similar tracks to ones off For God, but is still better executed with more energy and better flow. Some of the tracks sadly do sound alike and a bit phoned in, such as songs like Phone Ringing, Crazy Man, and I'm In Her. These tracks are mostly bearable, just kind of insignificant in the general landscape of the album. I will say the previous aforementioned track, I'm In Her, is also one of the worst songs on the album. The repetition on here just doesn't work, and the feature is just okay. I'm also not a big fan of the few slower songs on here, such as Love Story of My Life and Never Change. They're just not flattering for Rob's voice and are a definite skip. With all the negative out of the way, we could talk about the majority positive on this album. The track Vulture Island and its remix are amazing, the ad-libs are hilarious but work, and the energy is top notch on this track as well. While I would have just kept the remix with Lil Baby on the album and removed the original, the track is so good that it's still a welcome addition. The track Athlete doesn't have the same energy, but the Lil 00 feature is a great addition and definitely a highlight. I'm also in love with the track Counterfeit. The energy is great, and so is the beat, and Icewear Vezo is the perfect feature to be on here. This album is a great step in the right direction for Rob49 and really uncovers a lot of his potential. My favorite tracks are Counterfeit, Vulture Island V2, and Undefeated. Feels like Rob has a great charismatic personality here that shines through on every track. That just didn't exist in his previous work. I'd rate this album, that has obvious flaws, but is majority entertaining, a solid 6 out of 10.
Look like still hitting licks. I got my niggas rich, a millionaire, but yeah, he still with it. And I'ma glorify the fucking trenches. They made me real boss before 9 niggas hate to see it.
For God 2 is a very hard album to judge. The infectious energy from Vulture Island is still there, but I will say his personality is less flamboyant. His flows, though, are cleaner and the album does flow better. Tracks like 'Cause I and Pressure are slower and are some of my least favorite tracks on here. I still don't think Rob is at his best when taking it slower. I'm also not a fan of the Roddy Ricch and Trippie Redd features on here. They just feel so out of place and don't add much in terms of value to the tracks. However, the slower track, Hate It or Love It, is actually very good. Admittedly, it's not that slow compared to the rest of the album, but regardless, it has a great performance by DaBaby and Rob. The only songs I feel are bad are the aforementioned cuts featuring Trippie Redd and Roddy, and the track I Believe You. I Believe You is just an awful song. It makes me cringe. I honestly wish this track just didn't exist. The opener Bentley Moussain is one of the best tracks on here though, and has a great flow and great energy. Another song I love is Shake Some. The YTB Fat feature is welcome, and I love the bells laced through the beat. They're very similar bells on the title track as well. This track though is amazing and might be one of the best cuts on here. Other songs that are good that deserve a shout out are BMF, Staying to Myself, and Wody. Overall, this album is still a good album and a welcome addition to Rob49's discography. Even though there is a tad bit of lack of personality on here, it is made up for by the better flows and overall refinement of Rob's style. My favorite moments being Shake Some, the title track, and Bentley Moussain. I would consider this album a slight upgrade from Vulture Island, and I feel like a 6.5 out of 10 score should reflect that.
I was 17, skipping school, stealing from the mailman. Waited till you got grown to be gangster, I don't feel that. Told him watch this gang, you got a slow leap. Watch what you say around them niggas, I think they police.
I think Rob49 is a very capable rapper, but still has a lot of potential to unlock. This is best illustrated by his best work, For God 2, which I gave a 6.5 out of 10. After combining all his scores though, the average of his albums is 5.6 out of 10. While the score is not great, Rob has a lot of room to improve and grow, and he could make some great music down the line. He is still an above average rapper though, and deserves a lot of credit. Since I haven't scored any rappers yet, Rob stands alone as the only rapper I've ranked so far. What rapper do you want to see me dive into next? Let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and peace out.